I'm Shiv.
Is this working? Okay. Um, so we just saw Sobi's talk. That was amazing, awesome. I don't know, you say the words. I'm gonna do my talk. I'm gonna try to be as quick as I can, or maybe not so. We have extra time, so it's okay. um, uh, Let me start by telling you a little bit about my family and my history with writing. At the age of 4, my brother, when he was 16 and I was 4, he decided to start writing. And when I say writing, I mean every single idea that would come to his head, he would have to take out a notebook and write it down. Can you imagine talking to someone who does not stop writing? Seriously, it becomes very annoying. I tried to tell him about a movie. He's like, oh my God, that's so... That is just... How about... For this reason, I began to dislike writing, and I wasn't really keen on it. That's my brother. Say hi. Other than that, my experience with writing was essays. I hate essays. I mean, like, no offense against anyone, but just essays, really? Like, you have to, they put you in this boundary where you have to think of a certain ideology and you have to write in a certain structure, you have to write in a certain format. It gets so boring after 10 years of doing it. So, a couple of years ago, I decided I was going to write a novel because I love reading books, and I'm sure all of my friends, everyone that knows me knows I love books. So, I tried to write a novel, but instead of writing, I decided to voice record it. It was going to be the first ever book to come out with an audio before a text. It's going to be awesome. I was 12. As I was speaking into the phone because it had the voice recorder, I kept thinking about all these different this imaginary world where I was in a parallel universe from the one we're living in. I would imagine that my family existed, but with different names, with different qualities, with different ideologies behind them. My brother was a wizard, my sister a mathematician, a magician, something like that. Don't exactly remember. You see, after a year later, when I took up my phone and listened to it, I thought it was so horrible, I deleted them all, so I can't show them to you. Later on, I decided to, it was last summer actually, 1 o'clock in the morning, bored out of my wits, got an idea, so I started typing into the laptop quickly, frantically, trying to take out the idea. And I thought, this time, I'm going to write a book. And I wrote, and it came out, okay. It wasn't really that good. Then again, anything I do isn't really that good, but that's beside the point. The book was about a little kid who understood everything and could speak, but she didn't reveal to anyone. She was a 4-year-old kid who would never tell people that she could write. I wrote a page and a half, and I was so happy with myself. A page and a half. And then a few weeks later, I entered a program called Creative Writing. The teacher is actually here, Salam Shed. And I want to thank Salam Shed because she's the first person who got me thinking about writing in a completely different way. The first lesson, we sat down, the teacher, Miss Sarah, told us, sit down in your seats, take out a pen, and don't take your pen off the paper for 5 minutes. You have to write anything. First it was gibberish, and then I came up with this weird story about how my mother's womb was the best time of my life, you know, when you're a baby and you're like, just everything is like room service into your mouth. I mean, what more do you need, you know? So, at that time, I felt like every point in life after was harder, and was harder and harder, and I hated it and hated it and hated it and hated it. I tried to, other points in the creative writing class, you'd write different pieces, and I decided to do this project where I would write a compilation of short stories. I only did 2, but I tried. This is my first, it doesn't really show, but this is my first draft of the first story that I did of that compilation. At the beginning it said, the point. And I scribbled on that and I wrote traps because even though I started with the idea that I'm going to write a story called The Point, I let myself stray. And I think that's what the best thing about writing is that you're allowed, if you're sitting there, it's not for something, then you're allowed to sit down and just write about anything. It could go anywhere, to politics, business, you're bored. Another thing I love is that I was able to observe how I feel. A lot of people talk about self-evaluation being the first step towards fixing the issues or the problems in our lives. And I think that writing is the best type of self-evaluation you could do. When I took out a notebook and started writing traps and I started writing my mother's womb, I was able to observe how I thought and why I thought this way. So that, in essence, is the point of my talk. I want you guys to go home today, and that's the end, okay. To go home today and just take up a pen and write without boundaries, without stopping. What's funny is a couple of days ago, a speaker, Fatima Said, sent me an email, and she was uploading her presentation. As it was uploading, she was bored, so she started writing. And she did exactly that. She just didn't put boundaries. She didn't put like moments where she would stop. And she wrote about like the weirdest things, like IB and superheroes and like stuff like that. Yeah. And I'm sure if Fatima sat down and read what she wrote, she'll be able to see how she felt at the time that she wrote it. She'll be able to see what's really on your mind. Because it sometimes is hard to really look at yourself and see, okay, so that's my problem. Okay, so that's where I'm wrong. So I hope, but the thing is, this doesn't only apply to writing. It also applies to other forms of art. If you paint, and you paint with anger, it'll show in your painting. I'm not an artist, but I've seen paintings. And if you do a video, and a topic of the video is depression, then you're probably a little depressed. You know? So this is what I want you guys to do. I want you guys, when you're thinking about doing a change, or you're thinking about doing something outside, or you want to change something in yourself, or you want to find something out about yourself, just write, or make a video, or paint a painting. Just take a chance and, find yourself.